Hello everyone, May here, and today I've got a tutorial for you in Photoshop on how to do this nice looking glossy logo that you can see here. It looks really good as a YouTube avatar or a Twitter picture, so hopefully you'll find it useful. So I'm just going to get straight into it by coming over to File, New, and I'm going to do a new document with 400 by 400 pixels as the dimensions, and click OK. Then we're just going to invert the color of the background by holding Control or Command if you've got a Mac and pressing I. And then we're going to create a radial gradient by selecting a nice grey colour as the foreground and clicking OK. Then coming over to the gradient tool, make sure you've got radial selected, which is the second from left up there, and then just click and drag from the centre of the image to the outside like so, and that gives that nice effect. And now we're ready to add the logo. So come over to the shape tool and make sure you've got ellipse tool selected, and then select a nice dark red colour from the color palette and click OK. Then just hold shift to keep it as a circle and drag it into the image like so. Just use a transform tool to put it in the center. That looks good enough. And then right click the layer and rasterize it like that. Now ready to start adding some effects to it. So come over to the effects button down here, and the first one we're going to choose is stroke, and for size you want to have 8. For position you want inside, and for fill type you want gradient, and for the gradient colors you want to have black fade into a bright red. So change that to a really nice red like that. Click OK and click OK again. Then tick this button which says reverse, and for style we want reflected, angle we want 90 degrees, and scale we want 150% just to keep it a bit smoother. Next thing we're going to add is a gradient overlay. So come over to that, change the blend mode to soft light, keep the opacity the same and the gradient colors the same, and tick reverse again. For style we want reflected, angle keep to 90 and scale bring up to 150%. And now we're going to add some bevel and emboss. So come over to that. For style you want pillow emboss, technique keep it smooth and bring the depth up to 1000%. Keep direction as up, size as 5, but bring soften up to 1. And then for gloss contour, choose ring, which is this one down here, like so. And then for the highlight opacity, bring it down to 50 and bring the shadow up to 100. And now we're done with that. We're just going to add a contour to the bevel, which will make it look a bit smoother. So from this contour drop down, select Gaussian, which is this top right one here, and that just makes it look a bit nicer. Next thing we're going to add is an inner shadow. So come over to that, bring the distance down to 0, choke up to 20 and size up to 30, and then for the contour select half round, which is this one here. That looks nice enough. And then we're just going to add some drop shadow as the last one. Bring the distance down to 0, spread up to 35 and size up to 35. And now we're done with those styles, so click OK. Now we can add our text in. So come over to the text tool, make sure your foreground color is black, and then the font I'm going to use is Coca-Cola, which will be in the description for you to download. And then just click anywhere and type the letter you want. I'm just going to have M and position it in the center of the logo like so. And now we're going to add some styles to it. We're just going to take the ones we just added to the circle by right clicking on the circle layer and going to copy layer style, then right click on the text layer and go to paste layer style, and then we're just going to make a few changes to it. So double click on the stroke option and bring the size down to 3. Actually we'll change that to 4, and then we're going to take off the gradient overlay and click OK. Now we're just going to create a clipping mask by holding Alt and clicking in between the two layers like so, and then you should see that the text layer goes a bit lighter. And finally we're just going to add some gloss to it. So create a new layer and then hold Alt and click in between that layer and the M to create a clipping mask. Then come over to the Marquee tool and change it to elliptical, and we're just going to drag it out so it covers about half of the logo like so. Then come over to select inverse, then change the gradient to linear gradient, and that's the tool we're going to be using, gradient tool. change your foreground color to white. Then we're just going to hold shift to keep it in a straight line and drag it all the way down like so. That looks nice enough. Then we're just going to change the blender mode of that layer to overlay, and you are done. You can change the color of it obviously by adding a hue saturation layer and just changing the hue like so. But other than that, I hope you found this tutorial useful, and please leave a comment and a like if you did, and thanks for watching.